All right, so AI is everywhere, and for the most part, it feels a lot like a buzzword or a gimmick. But what I've noticed recently is I've actually been using it a ton in my travel photography workflow. So today, we're going to talk about how I use AI to edit my photos. Let's get right into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Desmond. I make content about tech and travel gear. And of course, when I travel, I do a ton of travel photography, either with my A7CR or with my Leica Q3. Now, when I travel, I do a mix of things like street photography, landscapes, and family portraits, and just travel photos in general. But what I've noticed is when I'm taking more of these candid photos of my family and my kids, I am spending a lot less time trying to nail that perfect shot or get the perfect lighting, and more time just trying to capture the moment. And because of that, it means more work in post-production because honestly, a kid's not going to stand still for the perfect shot. I'm not going to get them out at blue hour. It's going to be really hard to just coordinate these professional images when you've got unprofessional little ones. And this is actually where the software Luminar NEO comes in. I actually was introduced to this a little while back. Peter McKinnon's done some videos on it. I've seen some really great creators do videos on this, but I've always been interested because they leverage a lot more AI technology to streamline the post-production process. And of course, I feel like those are also a lot of different buzzwords. What it actually means for me is there's just a faster workflow when it comes to editing all of these different images I take of my family and my kids and myself when I'm just traveling and trying to enjoy the moment versus get that perfect image. And just a tiny bit about Luminar NEO, it is an all-in-one editing software that just really leverages the power of AI to kind of remove that barrier of entry that comes with professional photo editing tools like Lightroom. I love using Lightroom. I use it for a lot of my professional work, but as I mentioned, a lot of the images I take when I'm traveling, they're of my kids, they're of my family, they're of landscape. I'm just trying to capture the moment, and Luminar NEO actually helps me turn those into pretty beautiful looking images, even though I'm not intentionally trying to get the perfect shot. And that's what I'm gonna do in today's video. I'm actually gonna run through a few of the shots that I've taken during my recent trip to London and also a trip to Tahoe with the kids, just so I can kind of give you an idea of what this looks like in practice. So we are currently in Luminar NEO. I think the UX looks great. It's really clean. You can see here over on the right, we've got different generative tools that are already available, right? Like generative erase, gen swap, gen expand. These are probably pretty standard tool sets that you're familiar with if you've used any type of kind of generative photo editing or creation tool. Gen erase, you can just click and erase anything. I'll show you that in a little bit. Swap objects out or people out or backgrounds or anything. And then expand, if you take a photo where you want to get a little bit more out of it, turn it into a wider focal length, generative expand will do that. But let's actually just start with this image right here. Also, what I will note is all of this is in a raw format. I have done no editing or color grading at all to these images just yet. And we're just gonna go ahead and play around with some of the tools so I can show you. I think the first thing I wanna call out is the enhance feature. You can see this over here on the right under favorites. This is a new feature where you simply just click it, and then we're gonna go ahead and enhance this. Accent, sky enhancer. So you can see here that the AI is already identifying certain elements of the image. You've also got AI masking, which is really, really impressive. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And with the mask AI tool, this actually removes a lot of the pain. If you've ever tried to mask an image in Photoshop, it is significantly more of a pain. So let's go ahead and mask the human. You can see here, it can identify the human, which is very cool. We can mask the sky. Let's do water. And that's the great thing about this is usually if you're in a Photoshop or in Lightroom, you would have to manually kind of paint over all of this. Since we're on this photo, a couple of things that we're also gonna do. Let's go with the erase tool. This one is pretty standard. We're gonna actually just paint this guy out right here. and we'll go ahead and erase him. This, of course, is a pretty standard tool. You're gonna find this in a lot of other softwares. Let's go ahead and try another photo. We've got a pretty dark one over here. I took this obviously in the dark against some fireplace lighting. Let's go ahead and take a look at the noiseless feature. So let's just see what it does. Again, I didn't see a lot of noise in this particular image. I think the camera that I was using is pretty fantastic in low light. Take a look at that. So it still does a great job. This is with the noise filter off and noiseless on. So you can see it does a really, really clean job. Zoomed out, you can't really tell, but let's just take a look here. So you can see all the noise that's happening over here and with it on. I actually really like that. I think it's a very clean way of doing this. And of course you can change the color of the denoise here. You can adjust the details. Now there's another feature I want to show you here. Like I mentioned, sometimes it's really hard just getting that perfect shot. You can't wait for cloud cover to pass, especially when you're taking images of your kids. So one of the things that I was actually really excited about to see in Luminar NEO, and I've seen in a lot of the edit videos, is Sky AI. I actually think this is a very cool feature. I probably wouldn't use this very often. It's really there to just apply a little bit of creativity, but let me just show you how it works. Okay, we've got our sky here. We've got an image that's already preloaded. Let's just see what it does, right? I mean, I think this is still a very beautiful sky, but we've added in some clouds. We're adjusting some things here. Sky orientation. You can adjust the horizon, vertical position. This is a pretty cool feature, but like I mentioned, I probably wouldn't be using this very often. But of course, if you need to do things, you can adjust the global mask, closing gaps. This is especially useful when you've got like trees and other fine details. I'm just honestly just messing around with this in real time so that you guys can kind of see what's possible. This isn't the best example to do this on, but you can relight the scene based on the sky, relight saturation, relight the humans. I mean, really, it's a great photo without it. I was just playing around with it to let you guys see what it looks like. Let's see if we can find a better image to try this on. Something a little bit cleaner. You know what? This one's good. So let's go ahead and use this. Let's see what kind of enhancing we can do right here. Just with AI, we're just gonna go ahead and enhance the image. So let's go ahead and play around with the sky. Let's just add some clouds to the background. That's really all we want to do here. All right, so we've got some clouds. We obviously have different, let's go something with a little bit cleaner. This looks yeah, you know what? That looks a little bit more natural. Let's scroll down, relight strength. Of course, we can adjust the lighting based on the sky. Saturation. Like I said before, you can adjust the position. Vertical. All right, well, that doesn't look very real. There you go. And horizontal. You can do something like that, and then we can refine the mask. And there we go, before and after. And as you can tell, we've also got changes to the lighting in the scene. It's pretty cool. As I mentioned, probably not a feature I'll use very often, but for something like this, I think this is pretty cool, especially if I'm trying to create a dynamic Christmas card or some holiday card. We've got all the kids in there. Not all three of them are smiling. I can never get them to do that. But just another example of how easy that is. So let's try this other photo. And again, like I said, I'm kind of moving through this tutorial with you in real time, just so I could showcase how low the barrier of entry is. Let's just do face AI. And if you're not familiar with any of these tools, you can click the little information icon and it tells you what it'll do. So face AI, the nice thing about it is normally I would have to paint the face with a brush. Here, it's going to use AI to just identify the person in the face that you want to light. So we've got face. Let's go ahead and adjust the face light here, you can see I'm brightening up just the face of my daughter. We don't need to do any eye slimming or any of this crazy stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and use it for lighting. So you can see here, I can easily change that. Masking is built in. Body, shape, abdomen, we're not gonna do that. And here's the best thing about this. Let's just say we want to apply some more noiseless, but we want to learn more. If I click the learn more button, all of this detail is going to pop up. So you're going to be able to see a full walkthrough tutorial of the tool itself. And I think that is really helpful. Noiseless, let's actually see, I don't know. We've got a good amount of noise in here. Let's just go and apply the middle. All right, so we've applied that. You can see the noise before and the noise after, which is very clean. So again, in this tutorial, I wasn't gonna go too crazy and change this up, but you know what? So let's actually just take a look, Generate, and see what that does. Definitely erase this person. I wonder how this is going to do. Oh wow, that did a really good job. All right, and you know what? Let's go ahead and just erase these two people here. And that's the thing I will call out. Generative erase and the erase tool are both different. Generative erase obviously leverages more of the AI technology. And let's go ahead and do that. I also really like these fractal animations while the generative AI is kind of working in the background. And done. You can see here, this is actually really quite clean. So that's where the objects were before, and now they're gone. I'm gonna go ahead and save that. So let's go to this image, and I wanna use the generative erase tool on this one as well, just because when I used the regular erase tool on this, it didn't do as great a job. So we're gonna go ahead and have Luminar NEO analyze this image, and then we're gonna delete these people over here. Let's just paint them out. I think the laptop is struggling a bit. Okay, and we'll even paint out this guy over here. All right, I want to see how this does. It did a great job on the last one, but now we're using the generative version of erase, which should be significantly smarter, should result in a much cleaner image. And there you go. This is so much better. So you can see here, that's where they were, and they are gone now. I will say this is also significantly better than the feature that's available right on your iPhone. Obviously, it's leveraging a cloud-based compute system to process all this information, but you are getting really solid results for very low technical expertise. So we're gonna go ahead and save that, and we'll be done with it. I mean, all in all, like I said, in this tutorial, it was maybe less of walking you through how to create these perfect, beautiful images, but how I would normally just go about processing some of the photos that I take when I'm out with the kids, right? This is an original. I didn't want these people in it. I wanted to brighten up her face, so I was able to create this. I'll probably delete this big chunky head right here. Let's see what we can do. Again, I'm trying to have a lot more fun with my photo editing and make it feel a lot less like work, especially when I'm just editing photos of my kids and my family. And I don't want to think about getting the perfect shot. It's not a professional shoot. Let's go ahead and just see how this does. That's my son's big head in a hood, just in the shot. But again, this is something that's more fun to do, especially if you are a hobbyist or a beginner and you're just trying to do something. Yeah, that worked out fine. I wouldn't be able to tell that that isn't the shape of the fireplace, and it looks pretty natural. It's interesting, even the stone that's closer to the fire is dark and burnt. And it was also able to recreate some of the stone. So overall, I think this actually looks great. Let's go ahead and save that. And that's just what I'm saying is this has actually made it a lot more fun. You can see the image on the left and then the image on the right. It's pretty cool. All right, now with that said, if you're looking here, you can see there are so many tools. I didn't want this video to go too long. I don't do these elaborate tutorials, but I did want to walk you through this new software that I've been using to really streamline my travel and family photography editing, because it does make it a lot more fun. I can get a lot more out of it. Yes, you can of course apply all of your own presets. So something that I do is I will open some of these up in Lightroom, apply a creative preset that I like, and then import it over to Luminar NEO to do some of the AI enhancements and generative erases and things like that. So you could add a level of complexity to your workflow if you'd like. The other thing that I will say is that Luminar NEO will process both RAWs and JPEGs. And of course, I showed you a little bit earlier, Mask AI. We've got our human. Of course, we perfectly cut her out. We've got our sky. Anyways, like I was saying, I was just going through and showing you kind of how I have been using and playing with this in real time. There are so many different features. There's the upscaling feature, which is fantastic. So for some of you that have got old JPEGs or images where you just want it larger for a better print format or more detail, you can upscale an image really easily. If you do download Luminar NEO, you're going to get all of the different tutorials built in. So they are much better at creating these things than I am. I have not had much practice, but you can see here the sky tutorial, the before and after. It looks so much more epic and more realistic. I was not able to accomplish that with my very limited skill set. But if you watch enough of these tutorials, it does become significantly easier. I really like this generative erase tutorial where, again, if you're in Japan, which I've had some friends in recently, they come back with all of these images of very populated and just densely crowded areas. Being able to use this generative erase tool is going to save you a ton of time. And I think Luminar NEO is really designed for people who want a much more approachable way to create these beautiful photos. So again, as a traveler like me, I don't have time to shoo people out of the way. I'm gonna take the photo no matter what. I don't have time to kind of wait for sunrise or sunset, especially when I'm traveling with kids and family. So knowing I've got this in my back pocket and I have the ability to make the edits that I need to kind of create that final product is fantastic. All right, and that is it for this video. Like I mentioned, I've only been using Luminar NEO for a couple of weeks, but all of the tutorials, all the details are here when you purchase the software. And that will help you become a much better editor than me. But as you could see from this video, it really doesn't take a lot to master some of these tool sets. The generative elements and all of the AI powered features are really quite great. And barrier to entry, very, very low. All right, if you guys like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos just like this. I will catch you all in the next one.